Hello, Procrastinator. Sam here. Today we're going to be talking about Sonic Prime episodes 1 through 8 for Season 1. I'm specifying the episodes because there's no way that is all of Season 1. I looked at IMDb. It looks like we are going to be getting 24 episodes and we only have the first 8. So I guess they're going to be bringing these out in chunks. I don't know when the next are coming. Did they? By the way, joining me today is Kenny. Hi, Kenny.
Hi, Sam.
We just finished watching all the episodes. We binged it like every other Sonic fan is right now.
Yes.
But there's no real coherence, like a coherent setup with this video. We're just going to be giving our general thoughts about the entirety of the season. We're going to run through each episode. I have bullet pointed here to give our general thoughts, and we'll give our thoughts of the entire season as a whole. We have 8 episodes so far. 24 looks like it's listed on IMDb. I'm not sure when we're getting the next batch of episodes. I sure hope it's soon, though, because of that ending. I'll just give my very generalistic thoughts before we jump in here. I like the show. It's great. It's a really solid, great show, especially compared to other Sonic shows. This is definitely one of the top. It's great. Will I say it's the best? I'm going to wait until the entire season's out in its entirety, because I have no idea where we're going right now. I really like the show. There's definitely moments in the show where you're going to be like saying out loud, especially as a Sonic fan, like, wait, what? Like, wait, what's going on here? Like, so it's not like perfect. It's not like airtight. There's definitely moments where I just remember like constantly saying like, wait, what's going on? Where are we now? Because it's a good show, but there is times where it feels like we're kind of going all over the place, which is a benefit and a detriment. What's your general thoughts, Kenny, on the show?
I like it. I guess just my big problem is I started to get lost a few times. It is kind of like we're going a straight line and then there's several like U-turns. Mm-hmm. And then we're back on the straight line, and then there's a bunch of U-turns. I don't know. It's like,
let's just get this out of the way. I think it's episode, what was it, like 4 through 6?
4 and 5,
4
and then
and 5
kind of
more
the
so.
First like maybe
actually
5 to 10 minutes of 6.
You know, I'm not even gonna say, because like 6, it's like we're back in New York City, but definitely 4 and 5 when we're in the jungle area, and I like the jokes in that one. That one was funny. But that's where I feel like we started to like lose track a bit.
I think it like when we were going into episode 6, I think you needed to like stop for a minute.
Yeah, I needed a second. I was like, I don't know what, like we're like, we're going all over the place. I like needed a moment. But that's also, you know, I do believe like it is a little bit our fault too, because we are binging this, and shows are sometimes not meant to be binged. But like,
I
at the same
definitely don't
time,
think we're binging people either when it comes to shows.
Yeah, but at the same time though, this is telling like an overall story.
Yeah.
So it should want you to keep going, and trust me, I did want to keep going. I want to see it through. But yeah, there was a moment where I would feel fatigue, and I'll go into exactly why. But okay, let's just go into episode 1. We'll work our way down, and we'll talk about it. So episode 1, which, by the way, if you guys missed it, I did do a reaction to episode 1. We watched it on Roblox. I'm one of the only tubers that still has the reaction up. We avoided getting it taken down so far. Watch this not age well, but mine's still up. So if you want to see my reaction, catch it before it's taken down, I guess. I don't know if it will get taken down. I think we changed it enough where they're not going to come after it. So
yeah, I think you're in the clear.
I did do a reaction to episode 1, but I do have some bullet points here for each episode. So I'm going to go through down the list now. First thing first, I really like, and you'll notice right out of the gate in episode 1, is that there's a lot of game elements in this show, and I like that. I don't like when they take a property, a video game property more so, and they just don't use anything from that universe. It was my biggest pet peeve with the Sonic movies originally. It was a bit of my pet peeve with elements of Sonic X or the other Sonic shows out there. I liked those moments in Sonic Boom when it would harken back to the games a bit. This show goes all in, and I love it for that. It like there's badniks, there's flickies, there's rings. He literally loses rings when he gets hurt, which is really funny. And it's not like oh this is just like cheesy stuff with the games. Like this is just part of the universe. Like they don't even take time to explain it. It's just there, and you accept it because it's a video game. It's a video game character in a show. So I love that. Right out of the gate, you just notice that stuff in episode 1. So yeah, there's badniks, which is great. And I also love how we just kind of jump right into the action. There's no slow buildup. And I like that. I mean, how many shows have you watched where they feel the need to go into every character's like lore? And like, it's almost like... I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like usually sometimes for a lot of TV shows that want to get started, they start slow. This show doesn't. It goes right in. It assumes you kind of know Sonic. If you don't, it gives you a brief, description of the characters, so you kind of get up to speed, but they kind of jump right in, and I like that. What's your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think... I really like there's a lot of action when it starts out, and I really like episode 1. I think episode 1's really strong, and I think maybe that's why, like, as you go on, you do start to feel a little, like, drained a bit, but I like the action a lot. It's just more so, like, the flashbacks going back and forth in that episode. It's good. It's a really good starter. I'm glad that it started really strong.
Well, yeah, no, we'll definitely go into the flashbacks, which is part of which I guess is part of like the double-edged sword, which is like, yeah, they want to get they want to get started, they want to get right into it, but there are flashbacks that go back to the events of episode 1 that you don't really see. So okay, Sonic Prime takes a different approach. With the usual storytelling, you have a linear story, you have a premise that happened, and then from there, you get to know the character. There's a thing that happens, and then they go into their new area. But with Sonic Prime, it's almost like right from the start, the thing happens, and to get more backstory on the characters and the world and what happened, along the way you get these flashbacks, and at first it's fine, but there's moments again where it starts to go a little all over the place. Like it's like we have a lot of flashbacks, and it's not like it's too hard to keep up. Like this is a kid show.
No, it's not.
But it does feel like there may have been a better way to approach this. I appreciate them for trying to be different, but there definitely feels like there could have been a better way to approach it. But regardless, I'm going to continue on. So Sonic breaks the crystal, what do they call it again?
The Phantom... Wait, no,
that's not
Paradox Prism?
Paradox Prism. I almost said Phantom Ruby. Paradox Prism.
I almost said Phantom Ruby. Oops.
The Paradox Prism. And we get thrown into Nefarious City from Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Okay, real quick, we're going to say that throughout the entire binge process, there was nonstop moments where me and Kenny would constantly say, this reminds me of Ratchet and Clank. There's a lot of Ratchet and Clank love in this.
Can't wait until we get to the later episodes, because there is something I noticed that it blew my mind. It only took me 6 episodes in to realize it, but like... It's a lot like Rift Apart. I'm wondering if
I'm really wondering if they if they were influenced by it, because it really feels like that. They even made the neon joke. Like the fact that there's nothing but neon in the bad universe. But anyways, so I do have some bullet points here about the episode. We're not going to go into the whole story. We're just giving our general thoughts about what we liked and didn't like. One thing immediately we could tell, though, that is a bit different from the games is Sonic's personality. Sonic is kind of an idiot.
I was gonna say, definitely, maybe we should talk about Sonic's personality, because I've seen like Twitter today. That is definitely the big like discourse of the day is, do you like Sonic in this show? Because apparently some people really don't like him in this show.
So yeah, I saw that stuff on Twitter, and I totally see where people are coming from, and part of me agrees a little bit. I like there's times where it's charming from Sonic, and it doesn't like it's not too far fetched from his character, like even as early as like Sonic Adventure, like like him fighting Knuckles and they would lose the emeralds, and then from that I can take him like Sonic's always been kind of a goof at times, like he's been careless. I think that's the best way to say it. Sonic has always been careless to some degree, but Sonic Prime Sonic almost is like he explicitly does the opposite of what he's told, and especially like with Tails, and we'll go into that too. But yeah, Sonic Prime Sonic definitely has hints of just straight up being dumb. Like he'll make comments about how he didn't do good on tests. It's like, how dumb is Sonic? Like we have the Rouge scene where she's like, like he's like, how did you get in here? She's like, the door's open. And don't get me wrong, that stuff is funny. Like it makes me laugh. It's not like a complete change. This is not like Boom Knuckles. This is not to that degree at all. It doesn't feel insulting. It doesn't feel like a completely different character. It definitely feels like an exaggerated aspect of Sonic's personality in this, and it works at times. I kind of like it, but at times like it is like Sonic, like what the hell? Like I think it
overstays its welcome. I think that's what it is.
I think the biggest thing, I think there's a point where, okay, so there's points where it's funny, right? And the one that me and you really laughed at is when he's falling from the sky, the camera pans down to an open trash can. You think he's going to land on the trash can, and he just doesn't. He just lands face first on the hard cement, and it's like he just didn't even try. And it's like that's funny. And then there's the Rouge scene, that's funny. And then him saying he doesn't do well on tests, I guess that's a little funny. It's like kind of like a whatever moment. But the moments where I think it crossed the line is when he just straight up just someone tells him don't do this, and then he does it. AKA Tails. Tails. How many times has this happened? 2 to 3 times where Tails tells him not to do something, and then he does it. Hitting Eggman, he just ignores Tails. He just ignores him and then does it anyways. And then it's like, oh, well, I was wrong for doing that. And then he attacks Eggman, breaks up the Paradox Prism. All of his friends are yelling, don't. And then he does it. And it's like, bro. And then later on, he's like, oh, it's my fault. I should have listened. It's like, yeah, idiot. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's also references Sonic makes that are strange. Like these are the few moments in Sonic Prime, and I feel like we're really just getting a lot of the negatives kind of out of the way. But there are moments where, like, and again, I know this is a kid show, so I understand there's gonna be some cheesy writing, but and I have 3 quotes down from Sonic, and they're all from Sonic. He goes, "That's a sonic boom of a headache." That's one quote. The other one is, I thought I was losing my ring. Like, I thought I was losing my rings, like losing his head, like losing his mind. And then the third quote, "What in the name of Green Hill is going on?" These are examples of random references in Sonic's personality that just do not work. Like, it feels like they're taking random video game parts, random references that they know people know, and they're just throwing it in the dialogue. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. It's like, imagine...
I think the only thing I got was the thought I was losing my rings, because I don't think it's supposed to be his head. I think he meant to say thought I was losing my marbles. Like, that expression. That's the only one I was like, oh, ha.
Well, yeah, no, that's like, what it is. Yeah, it's him insinuating that he's losing his mind. I thought I was losing my mind. He's like, I thought I was losing my rings. It's like, why are we... Like, it's so strange. I appreciate the writers for trying, but... You guys already have game elements in there. You don't need to try so hard to do that. You know what I mean? You don't need to, like, have the references in the dialogue like that. Like, it just comes off as, like, a little weird. That's a nitpick, though. I'm fully well aware that's a nitpick. Okay. The part that confused me with episode 1 is after he hits the Paradox Prism, I was confused that Sonic didn't know how he got there. And I feel like it was a little like, I feel like it like it kind of came like, we're like, wait, you don't know? Like, did it make you lose your memory? But I mean, this gets quickly resolved. He quickly remembers everything, so it's kind of like a whatever thing. And I guess I appreciate it for not being like a fish out of water for too long. He soon meets Nine, which is that universe's version of Tails. Nine is like essentially what Tails would be like if Sonic wasn't there. He kind of just uses his gadgets to kind of prove a point. Which is kind of cool. Nine gives him his new shoes and gloves, and those change based on the world he goes to, which I guess is cool. It kind of gives him a little bit of diversity on each location he goes to, but it's also not well described as to why it does that.
It's so funny because obviously I don't want to make too many references to this in this discussion, but again, literally it's kind of like, I guess you can compare Nine to like Rivet in Rift Apart. It's kind of like it's a universe when Rivet doesn't have a Clank.
Yep.
And then has like a mechanical arm. It's
literally
basically the same thing.
This is not the end of the Ratchet and Clank references, because I'm sorry, guys. Like,
I'm sorry.
And
I know
I wouldn't
like
even be saying.
fanatic,
I wouldn't even be saying it's Ratchet and Clank references, but I just played through all the Ratchet and Clank games. I feel like these writers just loved Ratchet and Clank. I don't hate
the music.
Yeah, even the music
is like
episode 1's music when they're putting Sonic through the ringer. That sounds like something straight out of Ratchet and Clank 1. It's so funny. But anyways, we're gonna continue on here. I just have in my bullet points here, Froggy's hat. I just love Froggy's hat.
I forgot about that already, but yeah, I think that was something we noticed, and then we just had to stop for a second because we're like, oh my god, Froggy's got a hat.
He has a little top hat with an egg on it.
We missed
really
him.
Funny.
We really missed Froggy.
Yeah. So. And then what I was going to say was, especially during episode 1 in New York City, and especially after meeting Rusty Rose, that version of Amy, I'm like, okay, so this is Sad AM. This is kind of like what we're doing. We're doing a Sad AM type thing, and I was all for it, because it's like a roboticized Amy. She even has a flicky inside of her. And that flicky, by the way, which they also reference in the flashbacks, is the birdie from Sonic Adventure 1, which is really cool. It's like, wow, they really reference the bird. It's literally the pink bird. That's awesome. But it also hurts me, and I'll go into that. The Resistance. They have like a Resistance in New York City, and that's what gave me the Sad AM vibes, and I was for it. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. It's not full out Sad AM. It's not. It's probably not as dark as Sad AM, but it's a mix. It's like a mix of Sad AM, and I don't know. It's its own thing, which I think is cool. The Sonic Origin references in that, where we have Tails giving the backstory about how he was bullied. I've seen people online having a problem with the sprites, and I don't really have a problem with it, but there is something weird we're going to go into in a future episode regarding the flashback. And then you meet the Egg Council, which is really funny. We have the Egg Council consists of Dr. Dunnett, which is the old one, Dr. Deep, which is like, I think like the teenage one.
The one with the blue hair.
Yeah.
The arm.
Dr. Don't, which is the one that won't get off his damn Steam Deck. Dr. Babble, which is the baby. And Mr. Dr. Eggman, which is my logo.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I said Sam procrastinates like 5 times there.
They even have the hair swoop. It's amazing. No, I like the Egg Council. They're funny. They're a nice change of pace, I would say. I do think, like at certain points, they obviously like disappear for a while, and we'll go into that. But when they are on screen, I like them. They're funny. I like them. But yeah, that's really it for episode 1. I liked it. You know, I like the place they established. It leaves off on a good cliffhanger. It's a long episode too. I think that one's like 45 minutes.
Yeah, so, it's basically 2 episodes in one.
Yeah. So let's jump to episode 2, which is after my reaction. So again, if you guys want to see my reaction to episode 1, you can watch it there. But for episode 2 and on, let's continue on here. We have Shadow, who gets introduced. Well, he's introduced in episode 1, but you kind of see like the backstory of how he's caught in the fray. He uses chaos control. Chaos control is a thing. He also has an emerald that he found in a rock. That was so strange. He found the emerald in a rock. They have a Sonic versus Shadow fight that was really well animated. I really liked it.
I think it's one of the best scenes in the 8 episodes of we've seen, to be honest with you.
And that's something I'll just reiterate again. The animations in this show are a huge highlight. I love them. But maybe we should go into it now. There are multiple times, especially episode 5. There does feel like moments where the animation is just unfinished. I could probably
the lighting more so is what isn't done, I think.
Yeah, I could probably put 2 frames on screen right now, and it's like, this is from the same show. And like, at time, I remember me and Kenny at the exact same moment, at the same time. Well, I know what? I'm gonna wait. So you guys have to hang in there. We'll talk about that when we get to that episode. But anyways, so Shadow finds a Chaos Emerald in a rock, activates Chaos Control, and that seems to have maybe protected him from the original blast. We'll see what happened there, because that's still not answered as of this recording.
He just constantly gets thrown into the episodes and is kind of guiding Sonic, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. But
yeah,
this is where we learn, though, even though Sonic's in this new universe where it's like Nefarious City, those characters came from a similar start, like a normal looking green hill, and then things changed. So, which is very interesting. You would have thought like they were probably just, they grew up in an era where they were taken over, but no, it wasn't always like that. So that's interesting. But I'd say episode 2 is where I did notice, like, it does feel like we were kind of in the same room a lot. I think that episode is when we were in the room with the Ad Council, like, where Sonic was, like,
it was
tested.
the Sonic doing all the tests.
Yeah, and we were there for a while. And I think this is when we start, and especially as we go into episode 3 here, which we'll talk about now, I feel like this is where the show has a little bit of a pacing issue. And I'll go into that here too, because when episode 3, in my notes here, I literally said, "We are still here?" ? Yeah. Because we're still in this room. We're still in this building. And I think this is where they're like fighting on like the staircase, I believe.
Yeah.
And I said, it seems like it's taking a while to get things moving. And then we have like, and don't get me wrong, the action during this part is cool. There's never a moment where the action looks a little weird. We had the slow-mo part here, which was a little bit strange because it's like Sonic just like took all of them out, shot them out of the building. Like it was cool. It was a cool sight, but that slow-mo went on for a while, where he was like on the barrel. And then the ending did leave me a little bit confused in that one. But episode 2 and 3 is where I realized this show has a little bit of a pacing issue. And I think the example I gave when talking about it was like, imagine Sonic X, right? For people watching, it's kind of like Sonic X. Imagine Sonic X. First episode, Sonic goes to the human world, right? And he's trying to get his bearings. He's like a fish out of the water, kind of like what happened here. And then episode 2, what did he do in Sonic X? He had to save Cream from Area 99, right? Imagine that sequence of Sonic's trying to save Cream going on for about 2 episodes. That's kind of what Sonic Prime was doing. It feels like it was taking, because during episode 3, they realized the Paradox Prism is in the center of the building, so they're trying to reach it. But it takes a long time to get there, and that wouldn't be a problem, but it does feel like they're kind of in the same place for a while. So I
think episode 3 starts with them teaming up, right? Like Rusty is now like on their team. They all like, or is that at the end of episode 2?
No, Rusty is on their team. I think that happened during episode 2.
That was during. Okay.
I believe. I could be mistaken. It's hard because again, guys, we just binged all of it, so it could kind of
because then 3, I think, was the entire episode. I think was literally fighting. Like I think the entire thing was action in the same room. Yeah. So I think that's why it did feel so long to actually get.
But that's why it's hard to differentiate 2 and 3 because we were kind of in the same spot. But yeah, it's kind of like that. Like imagine with Sonic X, the second episode of Sonic X, just going on a bit too long. That's kind of what was happening. It's like, all right, we're still here. All right. I mean, it's not like it's boring. Like there's stuff happening. But yeah, you could start to feel like a little bit like, okay, I want to go to the next area. And I think the reason why is because episode 1 was so jam packed. There was a lot happening. There was a lot to see, a lot of new areas. I didn't want that to kind of end. I wanted to keep going. But 2 and 3, they kind of stay in the same place. The ending left me a bit confused because this is when Sonic gets sucked into the prism and Tails is like left behind. We're like, okay, what's going on here? Let's jump to episode 4. This is when they go to the what do you call it?
The jungle.
The jungle aesthetic.
I think what is important to mention though is that it's only part of the prism. I think that's what Sonic realizes, that when he realized he's the one that shattered the prism and that now there are multiple prisms in these different so this is now we're in the jungle.
So he meets his friends variants in the past again, and he has to go through the process again where they try to kill him. He has to explain to them, which Sonic does horribly, by the way. Every single time Sonic is like, no, we're friends. It's like, no, explain to them that you're not from here. Stop saying that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's always the same. Like he meets his friends, they don't know him, they try to kill him. He's like, no, we're friends. You're like, we do this, don't you remember? It's like, no, they don't remember, Sonic. You've been through, they don't. But immediately though, and I think this is also a personal thing. I'm not a fan of jungle aesthetics. I've never been. That's a personal thing. But regardless of that, this world seemed infinitely less interesting to me than New York City. The backgrounds felt very cheap. This is where, and we'll probably put 4 and 5 together because they're kind of like the same thing. This is where they're in the jungle. This is where a lot of the animations felt unfinished. There's literally a moment, and this is what I was alluding to before, where me and Kenny at the exact same time said, this looks like Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, like cutscene wise. Like you look at this picture of Amy here and tell me like that doesn't look almost like a cutscene for Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. And don't get me wrong, I like Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric's like animations because they were very expressive in those. But yeah, no, they like you could tell like they were cutting corners here, and even the backgrounds you could tell with the trees kind of looking all the same. And I understand like the first couple episodes of New York City, that takes a lot. It's a beautiful looking show. But it does look like they probably needed a little more time in the oven because there's definitely
when the lighting is messed up, it just makes the animation look very like they look like clay kind of like they stand out like a sore thumb when the lighting is like
because
off,
the lighting is not finished. So most of the time when the surrounding area is dark, they pop out because they're lacking shadows. But yeah, is it like really bad? Not really. But like. That I think there was a point in episode 4 or 5 where it did get bad, and that like me and Kenny at the exact same time, we said the same thing. Like this looks like Sonic Boom. What is this? What's happening? But yeah, there was more flashbacks here, and I think this is the moment where I was like, okay, these flashbacks are getting a little too much. This is where the story is kind of like you have to piece stuff together yourself because they're jumping back in time. You have to like kind of like okay, so this happened, and okay, so Shadow was okay, and then this is why so
this is the one where we saw this same flashback like 3 times with the palm tree.
Yeah, that's really funny, and I kept I laughed when it happened for like a 3rd or 4th time.
3 times
because it would open the same way with Amy like like huzzah,
Amy like the tree.
Yeah, it would happen every time, and I started to laugh. I'm like, okay, like this is getting a little ridiculous. But it's not like, again, it's not like bad, but definitely like it's like, okay, the flashbacks are getting a bit much. Immediately less interesting world though. I put in my notes, Sonic attacked a Flicky, all caps question mark, and yeah, he did. He literally attacked the bird. And I said, why is Sonic still not getting they are not his friends? Because, yeah, he's still like, oh, we're friends, remember? It's like they don't. I also mentioned, and this is true, that most of these situations would be solved if Sonic just communicated properly. And I do know that's like a main thing of like cartoons, like if they just talked properly, like a lot of these things wouldn't be happening. But, you know, that's just, it could get a little aggravating at times. Like, Sonic, just explain yourself, damn it. But I did write in my notes here that I kind of just wanted to see more of Sonic's regular friends at this point. Because they kept on doing these flashbacks of the regular world with his regular friends that we come to know and love from the games. And they look amazing. They sound amazing. It's the best I've seen them in a Sonic TV show. I want to look at them. Like, I want there to be more of those. And I was starting to miss it. I was like, I really want more of that. But yeah, then episode 5, yeah, all caps, I said the scenes are not done. The intro is not done at all. So yeah, the intro of episode 5, you guys want to know what I'm talking about, is a clear example of some animations just not looking done at all. Sonic trapped himself. Another example of Sonic being dumb. He literally traps himself in this episode. Amy like surrounds him with trees, and then he fits his head through, but gets his head stuck, so like a doofus. And yeah, we had a flashback that was really random and sudden with Amy.
It was that when they were explaining their reasoning as to why, because obviously they have, I think they were called the scavengers in that episode.
I remember now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like they're explaining their reasonings, like that both sides on why they're not friends anymore.
So yeah, and I wrote this at first because this is the first flashback with Amy, and it didn't make sense. She was looking at her friends, everything was all cheery and happy, and suddenly she decided to do the, like this is where you play the betrayal, like from Halo.
Yeah.
She just decided to start attacking them. I'm like, what the fuck, Amy? But then later on in the episode, they have another flashback that made more sense. It's like the first.
I think I literally said out loud, "Okay, thank God, this makes a lot more sense."
Yeah, but
now.
it just made the first flashback be like, "Oh my God!"
It was so abrupt.
It was so abrupt. It was a very weird. And there was a weird moment too, where it's like, where this is like one of those moments again with 4 and 5, where we were really like, "Okay, what's happening?" So the Sonic's friends are living on top of the trees, and Amy is under the trees trying to protect the environment, and she's trying to block them out. And it looks like she literally finally did it. She shot them up in the air and closed it off. And then in the next scene, the friends were right next to them under the tree. It's like, how did they get back?
I think we paused at that moment. And we were like, wait, what just happened? Because I think Sonic literally says, you just block them off. How are they going to get food?
Yeah, how are they going to survive? And then
how are they going to survive? Yeah.
It has like a pan shot, like an out, like a setting shot where you see the entire environment, and then you see them hiding behind the trees right behind them. I was like, how are they here?
Yeah, I don't know if that was maybe like, ooh, we didn't actually get out, maybe, but
they never explain it.
It's kind of weird how it was executed. It feels like maybe that was like an error. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It is definitely a bit of a nitpick, but yeah, very strange. And then the episode ends with Amy discovering sunlight and being like, oh my God, you're right. I'm wrong. And it's like, okay.
That's all you needed. She just needed some sun.
She just needed some sun. She
just needed some vitamin D. That's all she needed.
And then this is the moment where Sonic didn't know the bird could fly, which was really
that was
funny.
Weird. Because I think it was literally flying when it was first chasing Sonic.
It was. It's there's just a lot of nitpick moments where just like, okay.
I don't think these episodes were thought out very well. And my big thing with the whole jungle scene is like, just because obviously Sonic leaves this dimension, but it feels like all the conflict has been resolved in the jungle world. So now I'm kind of thinking, will we go back to the jungle world? It's like, it feels like there's no point to even go back there. What else would they, like, Eggman obviously isn't in that dimension, so it's like, what would we do back there? That I feel like just the jungle dimension was, I think, the most boring one.
It definitely was for me too. It seemed a bit samey. The main story wasn't as interesting as New York City. It's like I don't know. It definitely felt like a filler. It felt like this is the filler part. And it just went on for a while. Not totally bad, but compared to the first couple episodes and because New York City is just so good, it just felt like I just want to get back to New York City. I want to get back to something more interesting. And sure enough, we do. Episode 6. We go back to New York City, and I even wrote my notes here. Very happy to be back in this. It looks nice. But in this episode 6, we have the flashback. We have flashbacks, and it's the same ones that keep happening. The same flashbacks keep happening. And this is where it's like, okay, now it's really getting a little ridiculous. Where it's like, we get it. We get it. I don't know. Bit of a nitpick. Not much to say with this episode, though. I didn't put much here.
Yeah. It was basically, I think this episode was like he got back and then all of his friends were mad that he left. But
they were mad
obviously they thought he ran away with the part of the Paradox Prism. And then they were like, 9 also ran away with the Paradox Prism. And then 9 came back. But then 9 wanted to go to a different dimension.
9 wanted to go to another place. And it's like, but that like quickly, that didn't happen. And it's like, it essentially not a whole lot didn't happen here. There was a whole lot of stuff that just didn't happen.
It was very underwhelming. And I think the one thing that bothers me about this episode, I think the only critique I have with this episode is I liked that 9 was like, I don't want to be in this dimension. This dimension did nothing for me and wanted to go to a new one. And was like, Sonic, you can build a new life here. And, we can just build a new life. And then Sonic was like, no. And then 9 didn't even fight him on it. It was kind of like, I feel like that was really powerful. Like, that was a really good idea for 9 to be like, I want to be somewhere else. But I feel like nothing came out of it at all. It was very predictable.
But it was also a bit of a weird suggestion from 9, because 9 knows it's not like he's wanting to start a new life. He just wants to get back to where he's at. Like, you have the power.
Get Sonic back to his friends.
Like, why would he want to start over?
It is a little weird. I mean, but 9 wanting to live somewhere else and not be in New York City because of his bullies and all that. Like, it makes sense, and I feel like that's so cool, but I feel like that should have been a plot line that should have been later in the series.
Yeah, but this entire episode, which I could sum up this entire episode right now, because all of that is just fluff, because it doesn't amount to anything anyways. This entire episode is he goes back to New York City. There's a bit of a war happening in the streets. He's regaining their trust by fighting them. And then while running really fast, while trying to save 9 in Eggman's base, he gets zapped and he's brought to episode 7, the pirate world. But like, not a lot, but there's so much extra stuff in the middle there where it's like it doesn't go anywhere anyway, so there's no real point in talking about it. It's like, 9 wants to go to another planet, but quickly comes back. The friends are mad at him because they thought he left, but he's back.
But he regains the trust like 2 minutes later. It's sad because I feel like those are all really good plot points, but...
Well, I wouldn't say over the course of the entire episode, they're still kind of like, I don't know. Well, more so the soldier people, but... Still, it's like, it feels like, all right, what is happening? Like, what are we doing? And luckily, 7 and 8 kind of picks back up. This is where the excitement level comes back. So in episode 7, we learned that Shadow used chaos control. And we come to the pirate world. And now, when he came to the pirate world, and me and Kenny paused for a bit, I started to I was a bit frustrated. I'm like, no, I don't want to. I felt very fatigued at this point. And I was like, I don't want to do this again. Like, I know what they're going to do. Like, he's going to land, his friends are not going to know who he is, and they're going to fight him. And that's what it looks like at the start. They're going to fight him. He's going to explain, "Oh, guys, no, we're friends." It's like, and I was so ready to be disappointed. But the writers came through, and they even joked about that. They even joked about like, no, this is different. And then they start partying, and all they do is party, and it made me laugh. So I'm really happy they kind of broke out of that cycle, because I was feeling very fatigued at that point. So the pirate world kind of became a breath of fresh air. But there was one thing that we talked about for a while that was very confusing and definitely an oversight on the writer's part. The sprite animation was so random. Because Sonic, discover like they go to the captain. They would discover the captain's Knuckles, and when Sonic saw that, Sonic has a flashback to meeting Knuckles in Hidden Palace Zone in Sonic 3. Well, first off, this is where I was like, okay, this sprite work looks a little rough. And I think even Kenny, you mentioned, this looks like Machinima. It kind of looks like Sonic for Hire here. It's like, all right, what's happening? But it also feels this has no correlation. My main problem with it is that flashback has no correlation with Knuckles being a captain. So in that flashback, like Knuckles talks about how he's the guardian of the Master Emerald, I believe. Like he's the guardian. But what does that have to do with him being a captain? Like I don't see the I think they tried to have some sort of correlation there. I'm not quite seeing it. Maybe someone in the comments could describe it. I rewatched that part 3 times. I was very confused.
I would love to know.
That flashback felt very random.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's like, I know when we were in New York City, I know 9 had the flashback, and of course that made sense.
Yeah.
And then, like, when we had Amy, I was saying, like, it's kind of like each dimension kind of has, like, kind of like the rival of each one. Like, obviously, like, 9's the one that, like, stands out, and then, what was it, Thorn, I think Amy's name was, in the jungle dimension? Yeah. She was the one that kind of stuck out, and now Knuckles as the captain. But then he also has the flashback. But it's like, they all seem really messy. Like, they just don't correlate well at all.
Yeah, Tails is the only flashback that makes sense.
That made sense to me, yeah.
Like,
I
wish Amy did.
Bring it up.
What if, I wish Amy had, like, a Sonic CD flashback. That'd be
cool. That's what I was saying, yeah. But it doesn't make sense that she didn't get, like, a sprite animated cut, like, a flashback.
Yeah. Or, like, even a Toei-looking one. That would have been cool. Yeah. But the Knuckles one was very confusing because also, and you mentioned this, Kenny, Sonic tries to spin dash into Knuckles, and then Knuckles blocks it, and Sonic is shocked that Knuckles blocked his attack. And it's like, is this the first time they met? Because
it's very inconsistent.
Because in Angel Island, in the beginning of Sonic 3, when they really first met, because this game seems to be, this show seems to be consistent with the games, they first met on Angel Island when Knuckles punched Super Sonic out of him. So I'm confused as to why Sonic is shocked that Knuckles blocked his spin dash in Hidden Palace.
I know Knuckles mentions it's like his first and final warning. And again, it's like they met on Angel Island. They should have just had the flashback on Angel Island and not in Hidden Palace. It's very weird. I feel like that one was more last minute. I don't know. It's very weird.
Very weird. But yeah, no, the episode overall was funny. Outside of the very beginning, because all of the stuff we talked about is really just like the first 2 minutes. Because then it's really funny. Like they are partying a lot. It broke that whole fatigued cycle of his friends don't know him, and I was appreciative of that. But yeah, it was a very funny episode, and we go into episode 8 where he's still in the pirate world, and it's a race to get to their prism. And you see the Amy from New York City, the evil Amy, like coming in to try
Rusty,
to,
I think.
Rusty Rose trying to attack them. And this is where it gets very like, this is all, I think I even said like, finally, this is cool. I like seeing it mingle like together like that. That's great. Yeah. I actually didn't write that many notes because I was actually intrigued. There's a lot of action in this episode. We heard the Jacksepticeye. That was definitely Jacksepticeye.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a good episode. And it ends with a cliffhanger, where we finally see Shadow stop Sonic when he's going in between worlds, and Shadow's about to attack him for what he did to the world, saying our world doesn't exist because of you. So I'm curious on where they go. Is Shadow gonna go with Sonic now to wherever they go? Or are they gonna be like, I hope so. I would love to see Shadow. Like,
the cliffhanger was really nice, but I'm like, I really want to know like Shadow's motive. I think that's what's bugging me right now is like that is what I really want to see happen. Like I really want to know is Shadow like trying to help Sonic?
Yeah, so that's what's strange though, because when he's like talking to Sonic through the power of friendship, it's like he's like, Sonic, don't stop, keep running, and Sonic's like, Shadow, and then never questions it again. And then like, but it's like the second Shadow sees him, he punches him. It's like, bro, like,
it's very weird.
It's all. I mean, I guess Shadow has a right to be angry, but it's all very strange. But those are kind of their overall thoughts of each episode. I know we kind of rushed through them fast, but that's just how it is. If you guys want to know like what it's like, obviously watch them. But overall, the show, it has its high moments, it has its low moments. It's definitely different. It has its own personality, its own identity compared to other Sonic shows and genres, and I like that. It has something that differentiates it. At the same time, I do feel like there are moments where it's like gets a little weird. It's like Sonic's personality is weird at times. Episodes 4, 5, and a little bit of 6, it's like it's kind of a low moment of the show. But I feel like there's a lot of good here, though. This isn't like... I appreciate the show for not pulling a Sonic Boom, for not pulling a Saturday morning cartoon. I appreciate it for trying to have an overarching story that has a coherent story, a consistent story, and that carries over from each episode. I like that. I do wish the story was probably told a bit better. Not necessarily linear. I'm okay with the flashbacks to an extent, but definitely I don't want to feel like we're jumping all over the place too much. I like Sonic going to new places, but I do want them to break out of that cycle of they don't know him, he has to explain himself, and then this whole thing. Like, definitely, like, we could go to new areas. I'm sure there is going to be new areas, but I kind of miss just Sonic's regular friends, though, because they handle it so well in the beginning, and with the flashbacks. I really love seeing the video game characters we know and love in this form, because they're really well animated, they're really well voice acted. We don't see this often, so I want to kind of see their normal versions a bit more, outside of their alternate versions. But outside of that, it's good. It picks up near the end, and I'm excited. I really hope those next batch of episodes don't take too long. But at the same time, I hope Netflix gives the people the resources they need, because clearly, and I think we mentioned this too, because we saw on Twitter, like, especially a few months ago, they were like, hey, we're hiring for Sonic Prime, we're hiring. They kept on saying we're hiring.
Yeah, we're hiring at Wild Brain.
Clearly they don't have enough people. And I think the fact that there's some scenes in here that don't feel finished tell me they're rushing, and there's probably crunch happening, and I don't like the sound of that. So I hope they get more people on board to help.
They definitely really rushed to make this a 2022 release.
Definitely.
I really thought it was going to get delayed, and I would have been perfectly fine with it. Yeah. But they really rushed it out to be 2022. So
yeah. But yeah, my final thoughts: animations are good, voice acting is good, action is well made, story is a bit all over the place at times, but it picks up near the end, and I'm happy with it. Overall. So what's your final thoughts, Kenny? And then we'll call it there.
Yeah, I do really like it. Again, I think right now it's very scattered. I think it's a lot. It's definitely a show. Like, unless if you're not like a really big Sonic fan, I would say it's definitely a show I would maybe watch halfway and then like watch the first 4 episodes, take a break, and then watch the rest.
Yeah, don't
I feel like
binge.
right now is where I feel like it's not a great show to binge, or at least definitely say maybe like after a few episodes talk about it or kind of think about it, because I think that's my problem, is that there is a lot of information at once. It's a lot of going back and forth, and it's good because it keeps you kind of like, okay, what's gonna happen next, like when are they gonna answer this, so it kind of keeps you on your toes. It's very entertaining though, and I think the humor is really good.
Yeah,
the music's really good.
I'm very happy with a good amount of the humor though, because it's, I'm a 25-year-old adult, and I found myself laughing, like, a lot. Like, every time I saw Froggy with Big, I would
Froggy was Froggy was so funny, and he just basically stood there the entire 8 episodes. Yeah.
In the
it's a really good show. It's kind of just like, I think it's gonna feel a lot better once more things are answered, and I'm really excited that I am very intrigued, because I think the last thing I said at the end of 8 was, that can't be it. You can't end there. I was so mad when I saw Shadow and then it ended. I'm like, you can't do this.
Yeah, I was like, finally, we're gonna like at least give us the answer before you you end.
I mean, but that's good, because now I'm excited for the next. Hopefully, maybe they'll release the next 8 episodes together again. I don't know how they're gonna go through. If it's 24, like IMDb says, then I assume they'll release another 8 episodes in the next few months. But I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. But
Pretty good.
that's kind of that's our thoughts on everything. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, make sure you guys are subscribed, hit the bell, hit the like, so you guys know next, our thoughts on the next episodes when they come out. Stay tuned to the channel for anything Sonic Prime related, whether it be trailers, stuff like that. I'll definitely react to them when I can. If they ever do another Roblox event, I'll try to do a reaction, but no promises there. I really don't want to get in trouble. But yeah, no, it's great, and I'm looking forward to it. So. Good job, Wild Brain, for not making a Mega Man Recharge type show. They actually made something that I really like. So yeah, we're eating good. Frontiers is good. The show's good. The comics are good.
Definitely one of the best Sonic shows.
The movies are good. So. Yeah, great time. All right, guys. Well, that's it for right now. Make sure you guys stay tuned to the channel, because I will also be doing my Sonic Frontier spoiler review. I know I keep on talking about it and it's still not out, but I have plans. Don't worry, I have plans on when it'll come out. You guys will know it when you guys see it, so stay tuned. And with all that said, I will talk to you guys all very soon. So bye, guys.
Bye.